Hello, my friends. Welcome back. I am very excited because I am about ready to finish my own seasonal color. I did the pot by the front door. That was my first part of the season. That was my dedication to self of going first, at least getting some color in my own garden before the season began. And now I'm going to do the rest of my containers. So we are standing on my dining patio. So this was actually constructed from the Flower and Garden Show from 2023. If you haven't seen that series, feel free to go back and watch along. But this is the dining room, and this is what happened to the product after the show. I brought it back and actually installed it in my front yard, which was such a fun process. I documented a lot of that construction and all the steps. But today what we're going to do is we are going to dress up the trio of containers that are anchoring the opposite corners. So I have one that kind of greets you as soon as you start to walk down our path to our front door. And then I have the third trio kind of behind me over my shoulder, and that anchors the far corner. And so when you're actually seated in this dining patio, you have so much floral abundance all the way around. So I'm going to zoom you in and I'm going to show you what I've gathered together and how these are going to play. And then I'll also walk you through kind of my mindset when I do a container, what I'm looking for, and how all these little bits and pieces come together. Okay, so I'm going to take you through what I have, and I've kind of layered this so it's almost in my brain how I want to see these elements. So what I've done is I have put a lot of my tall kids right here. This is a beautiful, let's actually take out this one. This is a beautiful narcissus. This is called geranium. It is lightly scented. I'm going to bring this a little bit closer. And what is really cool about this narcissus is that you have this beautiful creamy white with the bright orange center. And then what you're going to notice here also, I'm just going to peel this back, there are multiple blooms per stem. This is one of the varieties that is just an absolute favorite, and I feel like it adds just like a cheery elegance. The white, it's very like precise and lovely and crisp, yet still kind of playful. This is a tulip you've seen before. I use this one at the front door. This is Princess Irene, and as this continues to grow, this is called the flame right here, and this would become more and more purple, which is just so lovely. Then over on this side, this is a euphorbia. Now I'm going to handle this very lightly because I don't have my gloves on. This adds beautiful texture, kind of this nice little frilly bit that I like to have in a lot of my arrangements. The only problem here with this is you really need to be conscientious of how you handle this because the sap on this is poisonous. And so always wear gloves, and do not plant this anywhere where you have a small child who is digging in the garden and might accidentally get this sap on their hands. Okay, and then I wanted to, this is another one that you saw at the front door. This is, let me bring this closer. This is a wallflower that actually was a little bit dehydrated, so I'm rehydrating it right now. This one is called Winter Orchid, and it comes out, I'll show you one that's a little bit more in bloom, but it has beautiful tones of orange and this purpley magenta, just really, really beautiful. And then also the buds are this deep, deep purple that give it just kind of an extra little oomph. It's that extra special something. So these are kind of my taller elements here, my top story plants. Then as we move down, we're going to get into kind of a mid-story, a few mid-story items. And when I do a container, I like to have lots of different layers. So not only are we talking thriller, filler, spiller, I'm sure you guys have heard that 8 million times, but also you want to make sure that you have your centerpiece, you have a sort of like mid layer, and then you also have some lower moments and some fluffy bits. I find that those elements really help paint a much better picture of what it means to do a container arrangement. So right here, this is a heuchera that I use very, very frequently. This is called Obsidian, and it is just this beautiful deep foliage. It has a nice gloss to it. As I put this together, what you're going to notice me do is I like to vary not only my color, but my leaf shape and my leaf texture. So this is a very glossy leaf. pansy, glossy leaf. My bulbs, glossy leaves. But then as you get into a euphorbia, this is a soft, fuzzier leaf. And then over here, we've got another mid-story item. This is a senecio. This is silver dust. This is also a fuzzy texture. So you can see I've got glossy, I've got fuzzy, I've got more muted. Just this is the layering that takes your container from okay to fabulous. In terms of kind of our lower moments, you can see I have a lot of different items here. I've got this beautiful pansy, and I usually I'm actually going to take this little guy off. By the way, when you have a floppy pansy that's just gone over, you're just going to pinch it off at the stem. It's like super easy to do and totally therapeutic. So this is a pansy. Actually, I'm going to get a better one. This is a pansy. It is Delta Premium Neon Violet. And I feel like this tag shows more white, but you really get this depth, and it just looks like velvet. And the whole goal of bringing in some purple is because it provides just a beautiful complementary color to this orange. I'm also going to be using another pansy. This is, let's see here. This is Spring Matrix Deep Orange, and just has this beautiful, it tends to be a little bit oranger on the bottom, a little bit deeper, and a little bit lighter towards the top. And then I also have this sweet little guy. I love a viola. These tend to stand up a lot better in my winter climate, and so I use these a ton. And this is Viola Penny Orange. And all of these are very common flowers that you can pick up at a lot of different garden centers. And then, let's see, what else do I have here? Oh, I have this little cutie. If you saw my Costco video, I talked about Aubrietta. This is just a lovely low moment. This is really great in a rockery. I use this a ton. It likes well-draining soil, so the edge of a pot is also a fabulous location for this. It also has a kind of a little bit of a lighter purple. I feel like when you can bring together the same tone but different depths, it adds a little special something to your arrangement as well. So not everything needs to be exact matchy-matchy, but you want to make sure it's in the same color family. So this I'm going to add probably to the edges of a couple of different pots. And then last but not least, I was left over one of these little orange pansies, or primrose. This guy is kind of in sad shape here, so I'm going to clean him up a little bit and give him a home. I have back here some saxifrage. Now, you guys saw this in I believe it's the Scenic White or maybe the Turin White that was by the door. This one is the lime shade. So lime, if you look at them side by side, this has a slight bit more green in the middle, and the white isn't as bright. It's a little bit softer. And I feel like when it gets back in here, it echoes a lot of the coloring of the euphorbia and just provides a lot of softness. And this also looks really great draping across the edge of a container. Okay, before I jump into the trailie bits, I also have a couple leftover ranunculus. And again, this is also what I'm talking about. This is a deeper orange than this matrix. However, it's in the same beautiful family, and so it really tells kind of like a more, I don't know, it just provides more depth to the arrangement, which I really, really love. Okay, last but not least, I have two little trailie bits. These are heavy hitters. I use these just an absolute ton. We're still early in our spring, so we haven't warmed up totally yet, but these are ones that I really, really love throughout the winter. This is an ivy called Glacier, and this one has a bit more of a cool tone to it, a really pretty white edge, very, very sweet. And then I also have an extra duckfoot. This duckfoot is so stinking cute. I mean, just look at these little tiny baby duck feet. This is a newer variety I started playing with last year, and I just absolutely love it. So there we have it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take you through walk you through a little baby process of how I bring together an arrangement. All right, friends, we are going to start with this container back here. This is at the back edge of the dining patio. It is planted with a 5-star jasmine that I'm going to train up onto this trellis. So eventually, I feel like this root mass will take over the container, but in the interim, I want to show you what we have got going on here. The edge of this root ball is about right here. So when you see me plant, I'm actually only going to be placing right around here. So I'm going to go ahead and start placing items, and I'm going to show you how it turns out. Okay, I always start with my biggest elements, the tallest kids that are going to go in the class. All right, and for this one, I want kind of a little bit of a centered moment here. And like I said, this geranium is so bright, it is so chipper. I think the white is going to look beautiful in these white containers. So I'm going to place these guys right up against the root ball of this jasmine. Another thing that I want to try here, and I'm just going to place these and see how this works, but I'm going to try this as kind of a mid-layer moment and just kind of see how this looks. Alrighty, so I'm kind of doing a little bit of this. I'm not quite sure if this is adding the fullness I need. I think I need something a little bit more hefty. Okay, so take these away. Okay, what I think I'm going to try instead, and I can tell I'm already liking this more, is I feel like I needed more contrast. And so I'm going to add in a little bit of a swoop of Senecio coming in through here. I think this is just a super lovely moment. And then for that little added finishing touch, you know, it's interesting. I'm putting this in here, and do you see how there's a little bit of a blue cast to the leaf and it's picking up that silver tone? I actually don't think I like that. Instead, now look at that. Do you see how this glossy leaf is a better contrast off of this guy? I actually think I'm liking this a lot better. Okay, so I think what I might do here, so this is kind of that little ring around the rosy moment here, where I'm getting a lot of fullness all the way around. I think I'm actually going to sneak this guy back in here because I do want to keep that little sedum. And this is starting to feel nice and full. Actually, I may take that one out. Space these a little bit more. Now that we've got temps coming up, these are going to fill in quite nicely. I think I may, let's see here. Gosh, actually, I don't even think it needs that. We could go for a little spilly moment, again, bringing in some light tones, but I don't think that's too bad. I think I might just leave it as is, super clean and simple. Okay, so I'm going to plant all of this in, and then I'm going to move on to the others and kind of repeat the process. Oh, and by the way, when I plant these, I like to start with my center point. So I'm going to take my little guys out, and I'm going to start with my biggest center elements and then work my way out. Okay, I already know that I want to have a bit of a matchy-matchy moment here because you're going to see this and I want the eye to travel all the way to the back of the patio. So I'm going to start with a trio of these Narcissus geranium and see where it takes me. Okay, friends, I'm going back and forth. I want to stagger my floral moments. I want to stagger my texture. And what I wasn't liking is that I didn't feel like I had enough depth and drama. I like my arrangements to have a little bit of that dramatic moment. And then this, I really am liking this Erissimum. This is Wallflower. I am loving how it is playing with this big strappy foliage. And then I wanted kind of like a deeper moment down here, something that's like purple and grounding and earthy. And then I was kind of playing with, gosh, I didn't think I liked that there, but giving it just a little bit more distance and bringing in some silver is helping to cool this off and give it just a little extra something. And then I've got these little pockets all the way around, so I think I'm gonna anchor this with more purples and oranges and kind of bring in the whole color scheme once again around. Okay, so this is something that I do sometimes that when I just kind of want to mix things up. I will plant one of these, this is a cordyline. I actually rescued this off of another pot and it still had a good root structure, but I was really changing things up. Wanted to just take this out, give it a fresh look. And so in any event, I tucked this in here. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to back this with the Princess Irene because it kind of echoes a lot of those same colors in here. And I would tell you what this cordyline is, but I don't know. She's a rescue. So she's gonna give a couple seasons of color over here. Oh, yes. I've been trying to squeeze one in. I hope I didn't mess that up too bad. These were planted so lightly in their soil, but I wanted to get one in the middle. Okay, these have turned out super cute. I am loving the color palette. It's cheery, it's vibrant. It has all of those gorgeous oranges that I am so excited about. Down here, I decided to leave this little guy empty just because it's such a full pot already. Okay, I have a couple show and tell items before I go. Look at this replete daffodil. It gets super peachy in the middle, little hints of yellow. This thing is so gorgeous. And I have it coming up all along the front of the border, which is so, so, so fun. I also want to show you one other item. Okay, guys, this is a lily, Persicaria. And this is the dark one. I think I ordered the dark one. Anyways, I totally forgot I threw this in. And so I am having surprises come up all over the garden right now, and bulbs are so fun. If you want me to do a deeper dive into bulbs, you just let me know. Put it in the comments. I'm happy to talk about bulbs until the cows come home. Look at this thing. Okay, and by the way, I squished in 2 more pansies because I can't help myself. This is so, so, so fun. Again, I've got lots of little stuff coming up in the foreground, and so I just put a little tree of things in the back. And then this one is so fun. This clematis is taking off, and I didn't want to overshadow it. So I just did a nice little ring of these Princess Irenes, some saxifrage, and just a nice little ivy spiller out the front. Nothing too fancy, just enough color to get me through until, gosh, summer color is going to be here before I even know it. All right, my friends, thank you so much for coming along today as I planted out the dining room patio. It has been such a treat. I know I say this every time, but just being able to do my own containers after doing like hundreds of them for other people, it never is lost on me how special it is that I get to do this for a living, and also to give that gift to myself. That's the other thing, is being able to give the gift to myself. So my family gets to enjoy this space and I get to enjoy it too. So in any event, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I want you to say hello to your friend for me.